a while back you said something like, and I don't remember exactly, but the hell with the blacks, that you can't help.
No, I didn't
But
say that. No, Je-
you,
Jesse, it's very important we use the exact wording here.
you said, oh, you said, stay the hell, I'm staying the hell away from the blacks or something like that.
That's a little closer. So the context that got me canceled in 2023 is that there was a poll by Rasmussen.
Yeah.
They're, in my opinion, one of the better pollsters, and they did a poll in which they asked a number of Black Americans this question. They said, "Is it okay to be white?" Now, I didn't know at the time that apparently that's like a white supremacist saying, but just sounded like ordinary language to me. I didn't know there was a connection to that.
Right.
So something like some horrible percentage, I don't know, 30 to 50%, were not willing to say that it's okay to be white. Now, this was in the context of DEI and CRT and ESG and the mass brainwashing and or training of the American public that white people are the problem. And if you're Black, you should recognize that these white people are, the source of your problem. And I reached sort of a breaking point.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were all sort of working together, to try to make it better for everybody. And then I guess I felt the pull. I felt like, oh my God, I've spent so much time going out of my way to do things which were designed entirely for Black America. I tried to, it's a long story, but I've, long tried to be helpful under the theory that if you can help the demographic group that's in the biggest hole, you get the biggest bang for the buck. So just be the most useful thing you can do. But feeling that maybe a third or more wouldn't even want to live next to me made me think, well, hell with it. Why is it mine to solve?
That's
And I'll tell you
right.
what I found out. I got corrected by some very smart, I'll call them activists, who were also Black, who informed me one day in a Spaces event right after that, because everybody wanted to talk to me after that. They informed me that, and this was really useful, that they didn't really want my white guy help. That they would happily take my investment if I wanted to give a grant or invest in the community.
Yeah.
But they would decide what to do with that money and how to fix their own problems. And I have to say, I have complete respect for that opinion.
Yeah.
I like the fact that somebody said, you don't need to fix anything. Just leave us alone. We might need money because everybody needs money, but we'll fix this.
Yeah.
To which I said, I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
So
I've
I'll
always
just stay
thought that
away.
I've always thought that the white people need to just stay out of the Black folk business and let them fix their own life. They can, cause no one can fix you. It take you. You got to work on you to fix your own life. And I've always felt like white people were in the way by feeling sorry for the blacks and offering them this program or that program, or going along with them, agreeing that somebody else was their problem. And I've always thought that hurt the Black and not helped them.
Right. Yeah. So you're saying exactly what I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But, I came to understand it the hard way, and I respect that point of view completely.
Right on.
But my problem was in the context of the DEI and that stuff, that literally white people were being demonized.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to believe this, but you might. You might believe it. I want to help. Like that's my deal, just in life in general.
Yeah.
It's not just on this topic. When I enter a topic or get into a business arrangement or anything, I think, okay, how can I help my partners? How can I help my coworkers? How can I help my fellow countrymen? So it bothered me that I couldn't help.
Yeah.
And it bothered me that DEI made me the enemy instead of the person who might have an idea that would really help you out.
Yeah.
So So that was sort of tough, and I think that made me mad as much as the poll did. Now, by the way, the poll was really undersized. There weren't enough people to make it valid. But 2 years later, Rasmussen redid the poll with a bigger sample.
Yeah.
Same answer.
Yeah.
Same answer with a
Of
bigger
course.
sample.
And
Yeah.
so I wonder, I'm like, now that you're not dying, I wonder if you regretted saying that, because now you're going to be around long and they're going to call you racist.
Well, I didn't know at the time that I was going to be dying a few years later. But strangely, it didn't bother me as much as you would think it would,
Right on.
because nobody disagreed with what I said.
Yeah.
They just were offended and didn't think I should say it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed. You're the perfect person to ask. Is it your opinion that in the last, I'll say 6 months especially, there's a bluntness and an honesty about race from both black and white observers and influencers that we haven't seen before?
I absolutely agree.
Does that track with you?
Yes. And I think it's because white people just have black fatigue. I think they're just sick of being blamed and being angry at and calling them names, when in the past they've done all they could to try to help them, and they'll just hate it more. So yes, there is black fatigue in America now, and I understand.
But it's not just white people.
No, it's not. Not by anything.
So I'm glad I'm not imagining that. It seemed like something changed.
Yeah.
And I felt like I might have been one of the bricks in the wall.
Yeah.
The fact that I took a chance and destroyed my entire reputation and career. but I have to say, there was never a moment, not even for a minute, that it made me unhappy or sad.
Right on.
Because I'd reached that point in my career where I was actually thinking, how in the world can I retire? I didn't retire. I just moved the comic to a subscription basis.
Yes.
On Locals and also on X. But I didn't want to work for the man, I didn't want to have the publisher and everybody telling me you can do this, but you can't do that. So now I'm free.
Yes.
So as a creative person, it's really hard to know that you have to color between the lines and that you can only do what would be appropriate in a family newspaper that a 6-year-old might pick up and read the comic. That's basically the standard I was being held to. So now I can do whatever I want, and the comic is pretty awesome now. It's the best it's ever been.
What is it about human nature that we take concern about what others say or think, or tell us what we can and cannot do? Why do we even consider what others think or say about us, or tell us what to do? I
have a theory that everything we do is informed by our mating instinct. And so our desire to get along, and with men, we're seeking status, but also getting along. And with women, we're trying to impress them and such. So I feel like we're evolved to want to make other people like us, because that's where all our benefits come from. All right, you're not going to marry me, you're not going to hire me, you're not going to buy my product unless you like me. So try to make that happen.
So should we try to make them like us or dislike us? Why can't we just be an individual, be whole, be one, and live our life, and neither try to make one like you or dislike you, and leave it totally up to them? But don't put any restriction on self just to try to make someone like you or dislike you. What would happen if we didn't have neither dislike or like?
I feel like that would work for a certain set of people. So if you're internally a good person, you don't need any external anything to make you a good person. And you're just doing good person things, and you're obeying the law. And when somebody needs a favor, you give it to them. That would be perfect. And that would be an example of somebody who's not thinking at all about what other people are thinking about. You're just doing your thing. But if you're going to be like a light rail stabbing kind of guy, or, you're a lawbreaker or something, well, then maybe doing your own thing isn't going to be your best strategy.
It seemed abnormal to me that an individual would spend 1 second thinking about what others think about them or say about them. It just seemed to be an abnormal state of being. And I can't imagine living that way.
Yeah, it's if you break it down, why would your life be influenced by a chemical reaction in a stranger's skull?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a small, teeny little. You wouldn't even be able to see it if you were looking at the brain.
Right.
If you held it in your hand, you couldn't even tell it was doing anything. Just a little chemical reaction, and that's the part where they're thinking about you in some negative way.
Yeah.
Why do I care about that? Why would I care about that lump of anything?
That's right, man.
Now, if I wanted to marry that person or hire that person or work with them, well, then I'd care, but it would be transactional.
Yes. Amazing.